My beloved child, this is not a coincidence. This is not random. And this is not something you were meant to hear tomorrow. Emergency from heaven. Archangel Michael is speaking your name right now, but after 3 minutes, this message will disappear forever. Yes, you heard that correctly. Right now, in the unseen realm, Archangel Michael is speaking your name with authority. Not softly, not casually, but with the sound of divine urgency. And the reason is something you were never told, something that has been hidden around you, something forming quietly while you were distracted. There are moments in history when heaven interrupts earth. This is one of those moments. You did not click on this by accident. The timing is precise. The spiritual clock is aligned. And what is about to be revealed will explain why you have been feeling restless, why your sleep has been interrupted, why certain people around you have suddenly shifted their behavior. Archangel Michael stands as the defender, the protector, the warrior of divine truth. When he speaks a name, it means protection is being activated. It means exposure is coming. It means something hidden cannot remain hidden. And your name, yes, your name, has just echoed in the spiritual realm. Listen carefully. There has been a quiet battle over your environment, over your house, over the space where you sleep, over the energy that surrounds your daily life. You may have sensed it but could not explain it. A heaviness, sudden tension, a strange distance in conversations that used to feel warm. This is not imagination. Archangel Michael is revealing that a shift has already begun. Something that was concealed is trembling because light is approaching. There is a truth connected to your living space that is about to surface. For weeks, maybe months, you have ignored subtle signs. A door closing when no one touched it. A conversation stopping when you entered the room. A message deleted before you could read it. A feeling that someone close to you is not fully transparent. You brushed it off. You told yourself you were overthinking. But heaven does not overthink. And when Archangel Michael speaks your name with urgency, it means the shield is rising and the sword of truth is being lifted. There is a woman connected to your current environment, whether inside your home or closely linked to it, whose intentions are not aligned with what she shows publicly. Her words may be sweet. Her smile may seem supportive. But behind the surface, something is misaligned. This is not to create fear. This is to prepare you. Because exposure is not destruction, exposure is protection. The emergency is this. A hidden influence had been operating around your household energy. It has attempted to create confusion. It has attempted to create subtle division. It has attempted to weaken your peace. But heaven intercepted it. Right now, Archangel Michael is positioning divine protection at the corners of your home, at the entrance, at the windows, around the conversations that happen when you are not present. The walls that heard whispers are about to witness revelation. And here is the part that may shock you. You were chosen to see this before it unfolds publicly. Not everyone gets a warning. Some people only realize the truth after damage is done. But you are receiving advance notice. Because your spirit has remained sensitive. Because despite distractions, you still listen when heaven calls. Within a short period, you will witness a sudden exposure. It may come through a message revealed. It may come through a confession. It may come through an unexpected slip of truth. But when it happens, remember this moment. Remember that Archangel Michael spoke your name first. There hath been spiritual interference trying to delay your progress. Every time you were about to take a step forward, something small disrupted you. Every time you felt momentum building, a minor conflict appeared. That pattern is ending. The emergency from heaven is not about panic. It is about timing. 3 minutes in the spiritual realm can mean a turning point. It symbolizes a window, a brief opening where destiny shifts direction. And that window is open right now. If you ignore this message, the opportunity to prepare emotionally may fade. Not because heaven punishes, but because timing matters. Divine timing is precise. When the trumpet sounds, those who are awake move differently than those who sleep through it. Archangel Michael is not whispering gently. He is declaring boldly, prepare, observe, stay calm. The truth is aligning. Do not confront anyone yet. Do not accuse. Do not react emotionally. The revelation will unfold without your force. You do not need to push the door open. It is already unlocking. This message will not remain in your awareness forever. Distractions will try to pull you away. Doubt will try to tell you this is dramatic. Logic will try to minimize what your spirit already feels. But deep down you know. You have felt something shifting in your house. You have sensed something unfinished. You have noticed energy that does not fully match words. Archangel Michael's voice carries authority over deception. And when he calls your name, deception trembles. Right now, take a breath. Feel the calm returning. This is not about fear. It is about divine rearrangement. Heaven does not send emergencies without solutions. Protection has been dispatched. Exposure has been scheduled. Peace is being restored. And your household is about to experience a cleansing of hidden tension. Watch closely over the next few days. Notice small details. Pay attention to tone changes. Observe what surfaces without you forcing it. Because when it happens, you will not panic. You will remember that heaven warned you with love. You will remember that Archangel Michael stood guard. And you will realize that what looked like a threat was actually the beginning of your breakthrough. The clock is moving. The name has been spoken. And the emergency from heaven has already begun. Chosen one. The moment you decided to keep listening, something shifted in the unseen realm again. The urgency did not decrease. It intensified. Because when you lean in instead of walking away, heaven releases deeper clarity. Archangel Michael is not finished speaking. The first wave was warning. This wave is instruction. There is a reason the message carried the weight of an emergency. Emergencies are not about chaos. They are about immediate alignment. When something is slightly out of order, heaven can allow time to correct it gently. But when something threatens your peace, your destiny, and your household foundation at the same time, divine authority steps in swiftly. You have been too calm about something that required discernment. That calmness came from your good heart. You trust easily. You believe the best about people. But what you call kindness, the enemy tried to use as access. Archangel Michael is correcting that now. Over the past season, there hath been subtle manipulation in your environment. Not loud, not dramatic. Yes, small emotional shifts, small misunderstandings, small seeds of doubt planted at strategic moments. You may have noticed that certain conversations leave you feeling slightly drained, slightly confused, slightly questioning yourself. That is not random. When Archangel Michael speaks your name, he is announcing that confusion will no longer sit comfortably in your space. The fog is lifting. And when fog lifts, shapes become clear. There is a pattern you must observe. Notice who becomes uncomfortable when truth is mentioned. Notice who changes tone when accountability enters the room. Notice who prefers secrecy over clarity. You are not being told to judge. You are being told to discern. The woman connected to this message is not operating from pure intention. She may not even realize the depth of what she is doing. Sometimes people carry unresolved insecurity that turns into quiet sabotage. Sometimes jealousy hides behind support. Sometimes fear hides behind control. And Archangel Michael did not allow hidden tension to grow unchecked around someone chosen for elevation. You have elevation ahead. That is why interference appeared. Interference only attacks movement. No one blocks someone who is standing still. The fact that resistance showed up around your home is confirmation that advancement is near. But listen carefully. The next few days require emotional discipline. Do not confront based on suspicion. Do not allow anger to speak before wisdom. Divine exposure works best when you stay composed. When truth reveals itself naturally, it carries undeniable authority. You may see evidence surface in unexpected ways. A contradiction in a story. A detail that does not align. A sudden confession disguised as casual conversation. When it happens, do not react with shock. Internally say, I was prepared. Archangel Michael is positioning you to respond with strength, not emotion. And there is something else you must understand. This is not only about protection. It is about cleansing. Your house is entering a season of purification. Not physical cleansing, but energetic and spiritual alignment. What does not belong will feel uncomfortable. What is not honest will feel exposed. What is not loyal will feel pressure. That pressure is divine light. If this message resonates with your spirit, if you feel that subtle confirmation inside, then do not keep this to yourself. Share this message with someone who has been sensing something similar. Like this video so the algorithm carries this warning to those who need it. Comment what you have been feeling lately. Your voice matters here. Subscribe and become part of this growing movement of spiritual awareness. Join the membership if you feel called to stand closer to this mission. When you engage, you are not just supporting a channel. You are helping spread divine timing messages to others who are on the edge of breakthrough. And listen closely. What is about to unfold next will connect pieces you did not even know were related. Hold your focus, because the next revelation explains why this woman entered your space in the first place. Nothing is accidental. Some connections are assignments. Some are lessons. Some are mirrors. And some are temporary tests. The key is knowing which is which. Archangel Michael is revealing that this connection had a purpose, but that purpose is reaching its expiration. Not every person meant to teach you is meant to stay with you. When the lesson completes, the attachment loosens. You may feel an emotional pull to protect the relationship. You may want to give more chances. But when heaven declares timing, delays only create discomfort. You are being repositioned. Your home is about to feel lighter. Conversations are about to feel clearer. Your sleep is about to feel deeper. But first, the hidden layer must dissolve. Stay observant. Stay calm. Stay grounded. Because the emergency was never meant to scare you. It was meant to awaken you. Faithful soul, what you are hearing now is not merely information. It is activation. The atmosphere around you has already begun to respond to the declaration that was released. When Archangel Michael speaks your name, it is not symbolic. It is strategic. Something in your environment has been operating under the assumption that you would remain unaware. That assumption has just been broken. The reason the situation feels intense is because it is connected to your foundation. Your home represents more than walls and furniture. It represents rest, identity, and emotional safety. When subtle disruption tries to enter that space, it is not random inconvenience. It is a targeted distraction meant to shake your stability before your next elevation. But heaven does not allow elevation to be compromised. There is a deeper layer to this woman's presence in your life. She was allowed near your environment for a season because she carried a reflection you needed to see. Not to copy, not to fear, but to recognize. Sometimes God allows certain personalities around us so we can identify patterns we must never repeat. You were observing more than you realized. However, the season of observation is closing. The season of exposure is beginning. Archangel Michael is not acting emotionally. He is acting lawfully. In the spiritual realm, when deception crosses a boundary that threatens destiny, intervention is authorized. That authorization has been granted over your household. You may begin noticing tension rising in subtle ways. The woman connected to this message may feel uneasy without knowing why. She may attempt to secure control. She may over-explain. She may try to reinforce her image. These are not attacks. These are reactions to light. Light does not argue with darkness. It simply reveals it. And here is what is powerful. You are not being called to fight. You are being called to stand still with awareness. Your silence in this moment carries more authority than confrontation ever could. When truth surfaces on its own, it carries weight that no accusation can match. There is also something you must guard carefully, your heart. Do not allow disappointment to turn into bitterness. The exposure is not meant to harden you. It is meant to refine your discernment. You trusted because you are genuine. That is not weakness. That is purity. But purity must be paired with wisdom. Archangel Michael is not removing your kindness. He is sharpening your awareness. Within a short span of time, a revealing moment will occur. It may seem small to others, but to you it will feel undeniable. A sentence spoken too quickly. A contradiction revealed unintentionally. A private truth accidentally made public. When that moment arrives, resist the urge to react instantly. Instead, observe quietly and allow the truth to settle. You will feel something inside you shift. It will feel like clarity replacing confusion. Like a puzzle piece sliding into place. That is confirmation. The emergency from heaven was never about panic. It was about preparation. And now preparation is turning into manifestation. There is another layer to this that must be understood. The interference around your home was not just about relationship tension. It was about delay. Delay of your progress. Delay of your peace. Delay of your next opportunity. When emotional energy becomes unstable, focus becomes scattered. And when focus scatters, advancement slows. A delay is being reversed. Archangel Michael stands at the threshold of your environment as a guardian of transition. What does not align with your future cannot cross into your next season. And what cannot cross must either transform or depart. You may feel mixed emotions when this unfolds. Relief and sadness. Validation and surprise. That is natural. But remember this. Exposure is mercy. It is better to see clearly now than to discover painfully later. The clock that was mentioned earlier is symbolic of divine timing. A small window opened so you could be emotionally steady before the reveal. You are no longer walking blindly. You are walking prepared. Take a deep breath again. Feel the strength returning to your spirit. You are not losing anything essential. You are gaining clarity. You are gaining protection. You are gaining alignment. Now, as this revelation seals itself in your awareness, respond in faith. Type divine protection surrounds my home in the comments if this message confirms what you have been sensing. Lesson code 444 is now activated over your household. And hear this final declaration as this phase concludes. The same heaven that exposed hidden tension is the heaven that restores peace. The same Archangel Michael who called your name is the one standing guard over your next chapter. If this word stirred your spirit and you feel the fire of discernment awakening inside you, let your response become part of the mission. When you sow into this work through Super Thanks membership or the PayPal link in the description, you are not supporting a platform. You are fueling the spread of divine warnings that rescue households before collapse. Scripture declares, I will command my angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. And this promise is alive right now, speaking over every giver. When you step forward, saying in your heart, I choose to help this message reach another soul, heaven records it as obedience, not donation. This is seed planted into good soil, and harvest follows seed. As you release support, rivers of protection flow back into your own home. Do not hesitate when the Spirit prompts you. Act in alignment with what you have received. Let your giving become a prophetic declaration that light will not be silenced. So now, stand with this mission and watch how heaven responds. Steady your spirit, because what is unfolding now moves beyond simple exposure and enters the realm of transformation. The atmosphere around your home is not only being cleared, it is being recalibrated. When Archangel Michael steps into a situation, he does not merely remove what is misaligned. He fortifies what remains. You may have noticed a subtle shift already. A strange calm where there used to be tension. A quiet confidence rising inside you. That is not denial. That is reinforcement. The moment heaven announced your name, reinforcement began. Understand this carefully. Exposure is only the first wave. Realignment is the second. The woman connected to this message was part of a temporary alignment. Temporary alignments feel permanent while they last. They create habits, routines, emotional expectations. But when their assignment ends, friction increases. That friction is not punishment. It is divine indication. You are stepping into a season where your home must reflect your destiny. Not your past. Not your compromises. Not your fears. Your destiny. And destiny requires stability. Archangel Michael is revealing that your environment will soon reflect your internal growth. If you have matured spiritually, your surroundings must match that maturity. If you have developed discernment, your relationships must align with that clarity. If you are preparing for elevation, your household cannot carry hidden distortion. There hath been a spiritual tug-of-war over influence in your space. Influence determines atmosphere. Atmosphere determines momentum. And momentum determines manifestation. The chain reaction is why this emergency was urgent. But here is the powerful truth. The tug-of-war is ending. The next interactions you experience with this woman will feel different. Not necessarily louder. Not necessarily confrontational. But different. The mask will slip in subtle ways. You may hear tone where there was once sweetness. You may sense distance where there was once closeness. That is because light disrupts performance. Do not respond with accusation. Respond with observation. There is strength in silence when heaven is working. Archangel Michael is positioning you to watch patterns complete themselves. People reveal who they are when pressure increases. And divine light creates pressure on hidden motives. You do not need to interrogate anyone. Simply remain grounded. The truth will organize itself. At the same time, guard your thoughts. The mind can try to replay old conversations and reinterpret them with anger. Do not allow that spiral. This is not about replaying the past. This is about preparing for the future. Every experience taught you something. Even this one. There is also restoration approaching. As misalignment exits, peace enters. As confusion dissolves, clarity strengthens. As tension lifts, creativity returns. You may notice new ideas forming, new plans emerging, a renewed desire to improve your living space. These are signs that the atmosphere is clearing. Archangel Michael does not only fight battles, he secures territories. Your home is being secured. You may feel prompted to rearrange furniture, to clean deeply, to open windows, to refresh the space. Follow those instincts. Physical actions often mirror spiritual transitions. When energy shifts, environments respond. The emergency window mentioned earlier symbolized urgency, but it also symbolized opportunity. You had the chance to become aware before events unfolded. Many people only awaken after conflict explodes. You awakened before it did. At his favor. Soon, there will be a moment of undeniable clarity. It will not be dramatic in the way movies portray drama. It will be simple. Almost quiet. A sentence spoken. A truth admitted. A behavior repeated one too many times. And in that moment, you will feel peace instead of shock. That peace is confirmation. Archangel Michael's role in this was protection, not destruction. He shielded your destiny from prolonged delay. He shielded your heart from deeper entanglement. He shielded your home from prolonged instability. And as this phase completes itself, you must remember something essential. You were never powerless in this situation. You were positioned. Positioned to learn. Positioned to discern. Positioned to grow. There is strength rising inside you that was not there before. You are no longer naive about subtle manipulation. You are no longer unaware of energetic shifts. You are no longer dismissing intuition. That growth alone makes this entire experience worthwhile. In the coming days, watch how conversations simplify. Watch how tension decreases. Watch how your sleep improves. Watch how your mind becomes quieter. These are signs that alignment is returning. Archangel Michael remains stationed over your threshold. Not because you are in danger, but because transition requires covering. Every doorway between seasons needs a guardian. You are crossing that doorway now. Let peace settle fully. Let clarity anchor deeply. Let discernment guide gently. Because what felt like an emergency is becoming a testimony. And your household is stepping into a cleaner, lighter, stronger chapter. Brave heart, what you are stepping into now is not simply the aftermath of exposure. It is the unveiling of your authority. When confusion leaves a space, authority fills it. When hidden tension dissolves, rightful order returns. And this is where many people misunderstand divine intervention. They think heaven only removes problems. But in reality, heaven restores leadership. You are being restored as the spiritual authority over your own environment. For too long, you tolerated subtle discomfort because you did not want to disturb peace. But true peace is not the absence of confrontation. It is the presence of truth. Archangel Michael did not respond to your situation because you were weak. You responded because you are appointed for greater stability than what you were accepting. There was an imbalance forming in your home. Not loud enough to create open conflict, but steady enough to create internal strain. You carried more emotional weight than you realized. You adjusted your tone. You filtered your words. You monitored reactions. It has exhausted you. And heaven saw it. The emergency from heaven was not only about revealing someone else's misalignment. It was about breaking your pattern of self-silencing. You were shrinking slightly to maintain comfort. But your next season requires expansion. Expansion cannot coexist with concealed tension. A woman connected to this message represented a test of boundaries. Not because she is evil, not because she is entirely false, but because her presence exposed where you still feared asserting yourself. She triggered your need to stay agreeable. She tested how much discomfort you would quietly absorb. The test has reached completion. Archangel Michael stands as a warrior of boundaries. His energy is not chaotic. It is disciplined. He guards lines. He enforces order. And now that same enforcement is being mirrored in you. You will notice a subtle but powerful change in your communication. You will speak more directly. Not hurriedly, not emotionally, but clearly. And clarity is magnetic. It shifts dynamics immediately. When you stop over-explaining, manipulation loses power. When you stop over-accommodating, control weakens. When you stop doubting your intuition, deception dissolves. This next stage is about alignment through firmness. Do not mistake firmness for anger. They are not the same. Anger reacts. Firmness stands. As events continue to unfold, you may observe the woman attempting one final effort to reestablish her influence. This might come through emotional appeals. It might come through subtle guilt. It might come through exaggerated kindness. Be compassionate, but do not surrender clarity. Archangel Michael's protection over your home does not remove your responsibility. It strengthens it. You are responsible for maintaining the new standard. There is also something deeper occurring beneath the surface. Your confidence is rebuilding in a way that feels grounded rather than loud. You are no longer seeking validation to confirm what you sense. You are trusting your inner discernment without needing outside agreement. That shift is powerful, because once you trust yourself spiritually, external confusion cannot destabilize you easily. Your household energy is stabilizing. Conversations are becoming simpler. The emotional temperature is lowering. And where there once was quiet tension, there is now space. Space for growth. Space for new opportunities. The base for peace to stretch. Archangel Michael does not just fight visible battles. He fortifies invisible foundations. And your foundation is being reinforced right now. There is a reason this message carried urgency. If this misalignment had continued quietly for months more, it could have influenced major decisions. It could have delayed financial progress. And it could have distorted important relationships. It could have weakened your focus at a critical moment. But the delay has been intercepted. Now, instead of walking into your next season distracted, you are entering it aware and steady. You may even begin to feel gratitude for the clarity. Not gratitude for discomfort, but gratitude for exposure. Because exposure protects time. And time is one of your most valuable resources. Your sleep will deepen. Your thoughts will become organized. Your energy will feel lighter. These are not coincidences. These are signs of restored alignment. Continue observing calmly. Continue speaking clearly. Continue guarding your boundaries gently, but firmly. There is no need for dramatic endings. Sometimes the most powerful endings are quiet adjustments. Sometimes people drift naturally when their season closes. Sometimes truth creates distance without arguments. Let it happen organically. Archangel Michael remains near, not as a symbol of war, but as a symbol of secured peace. And as this chapter finalizes, remember this truth. You were never meant to carry tension in your own home. You were meant to dwell in clarity. That clarity is no longer approaching. It has arrived. Listen closely, because what is unfolding now moves beyond protection and into promotion. When heaven clears interference, it is rarely just to give relief. It is to prepare elevation. Archangel Michael does not guard ordinary ground. He guards territory that carries purpose. And your home, your mind, your daily environment, all of it is connected to something expanding. The tension that once hovered in your space was more than emotional discomfort. It was resistance against your advancement. Resistance often disguises itself as relationship strain, but underneath it is fear of your growth. Not necessarily conscious fear from others, but energetic discomfort when someone begins rising. You have been rising. Your thinking has matured. Your spiritual awareness has sharpened. Your patience has deepened. And with that growth comes a shift in compatibility. Not everyone can walk with you into the next level of clarity. Some connections were designed for a previous version of you. This is why Archangel Michael intervened at the precise moment he did. Timing matters. If exposure had come too early, you might have reacted emotionally. If it had come too late, delay could have multiplied. But it came at the intersection of your readiness and your destiny. Now, pay attention to what begins opening in front of you. Opportunities that once felt blocked may suddenly move. Conversations that once stalled may progress. Ideas that felt uncertain may become structured. When interference leaves, flow returns. Do not underestimate the link between emotional atmosphere and life momentum. A house filled with subtle tension drains creativity. A mind preoccupied with unspoken strain cannot focus fully on vision. Archangel Michael did not simply shield you from discomfort. He restored your capacity to move freely. And here is what you must guard next: complacency. After relief, there is a temptation to relax boundaries. Do not do that. The clarity you gain must remain active. Discernment is not a temporary tool. It is a permanent upgrade. What you tolerated before, you will no longer tolerate. Not with anger, not with superiority, but with quiet certainty. A woman connected to this message may now sense distance forming. She may notice your energy is no longer easily influenced. She may attempt subtle conversations to regain emotional access. Stay kind. Stay respectful. But remain anchored. You are no longer negotiating your peace. Archangel Michael's presence symbolizes disciplined strength. Discipline is what preserves breakthroughs. Without discipline, clarity fades and old patterns return. With discipline, transformation stabilizes. You are stabilizing. In the coming days, you may feel a surge of motivation to reorganize aspects of your life beyond your home. Financial plans, career ideas, personal goals. That surge is not random inspiration. It is released capacity. Energy that was once tied up in tension is now available for progress. Use it wisely. There is something else important. You may feel a desire to speak your truth more openly, not just within your home but in other areas of life. That urge is part of your promotion. When interference leaves, voice strengthens. If this message is confirming what you have recently experienced, take a moment to engage with it. Like this video so more people in similar situations can receive clarity before confusion grows. Share it with someone who has been sensing hidden tension in their environment. Comment what shift you have noticed in your own space. Subscribe and become part of this community that values spiritual awareness and discernment. If you feel called to go deeper, join the membership and stand closer to these timely messages. Your engagement strengthens this mission. And stay attentive, because what is about to be revealed next connects this entire situation to a larger cycle in your life. You will begin to see that this was not an isolated event. It was part of a repeating pattern that has now been broken. Patterns are powerful. They shape decisions unconsciously. You may recognize that similar personalities have appeared in different seasons of your life. Similar dynamics. Similar emotional adjustments. Similar over-accommodation from you. This cycle ends now. Archangel Michael did not just protect your house. He interrupted a generational or long-standing behavioral pattern. You are no longer attracting situations where you must shrink to maintain harmony. You are stepping into relationships that respect clarity from the beginning. A shift changes everything. You will feel lighter not just because one tension dissolved, but because a pattern dissolved. And when patterns break, destiny accelerates. Continue observing. Continue strengthening your boundaries. Continue cultivating peace actively. Do not allow old habits to quietly return. Because the emergency from heaven was not simply about warning. It was about unlocking the next level of who you are becoming. And you are closer to that level than you realize. Wakened one, now you are beginning to see the full design behind what felt like a sudden emergency. Nothing about this was random. What appeared as tension in your home was actually a mirror reflecting a deeper internal transition. Archangel Michael did not step in only to protect your physical environment. He stepped in to confirm that your identity has shifted. You are not the same person you were when this connection first formed. At the beginning, you may have needed validation, companionship, or reassurance in ways that made you more flexible than firm. You were still discovering your voice. You were still learning the difference between peacekeeping and self-silencing. And because of that, certain personalities could operate in your space without challenge. But growth changes compatibility. When you grow in discernment, you begin noticing what once felt invisible. When you grow in confidence, you begin sensing when your energy is being subtly redirected. And when you grow spiritually, light increases, and light always exposes what cannot coexist with it. Archangel Michael's role in this season was to confirm your growth by confronting what no longer aligns with it. There is a moment in every transformation where you must accept that you have outgrown a dynamic. Not because you are better than someone else. Not because they are entirely wrong. But because your frequency has shifted. You cannot remain in patterns that belong to a former version of yourself. This is maturity. And maturity requires courage. As this transition continues, you may notice that conversations with this woman feel surface level. Depth may be harder to maintain. Authentic connection may feel strained. That is not punishment. That is misalignment revealing itself naturally. Do not attempt to force closeness where clarity has already created space. The emergency from heaven was a wake-up call, but now you are moving into stabilization. Stabilization means you no longer need external confirmation to validate what you sense. You trust your internal compass. Archangel Michael represents unwavering certainty. He does not second-guess divine instruction. In the same way, you are learning not to second-guess your intuition when it is calm and clear. This clarity will spill into other areas of your life. You may find yourself reviewing older friendships, habits, even professional situations. Not with suspicion, but with awareness. You will ask yourself, does this align with who I am becoming? That question is powerful. Because once you begin asking it honestly, your entire environment upgrades. There is also healing occurring beneath the surface. You may not feel it dramatically, but subtle emotional wounds are closing. The part of you that once feared conflict is becoming secure. The part of you that once overextended to maintain harmony is learning balance. Archangel Michael did not simply expose others' misalignment. He strengthened your emotional structure. You may reflect on moments where you doubted yourself. Moments when you sensed something was off but dismissed it. You not criticize yourself for those moments. They were a part of your learning curve. Discernment develops through experience. And now your discernment is sharper than ever. As days pass, the atmosphere in your home will continue to feel clearer. Even if nothing dramatic happens outwardly, inwardly you will feel steadier. Peace will not feel fragile anymore. It will feel grounded. That grounded peace is your new baseline. A woman connected to this message may gradually distance herself, where the dynamic may shift into something more neutral and less influential. Either way, the emotional intensity that once surrounded this connection will dissolve. And when it does, you will realize how much energy you were unconsciously investing. Energy is valuable. Where you invest it determines your momentum. Archangel Michael intervened to ensure your energy was not drained in a season that requires focus. There are opportunities ahead that demand clarity. There are decisions approaching that require sharp intuition. There are doors preparing to open that cannot be entered with divided attention. This was preparation. And here is something deeply important. Do not allow nostalgia to pull you backward. When dynamics change, the mind sometimes remembers only the good moments. That selective memory can create confusion. But clarity must remain stronger than nostalgia. You are not losing connection. You are gaining alignment. The emergency window that opened earlier has now transitioned into a doorway. And you are stepping through it willingly. Not pushed, not forced, but ready. Archangel Michael remains symbolic of divine guardianship over your threshold. Every time you choose clarity over comfort, you honor that protection. The season ahead carries greater stability than you have experienced in a long time. Greater emotional independence. Greater confidence in your decisions. This was not about conflict. It was about confirmation. Confirmation that you have grown. Confirmation that your home deserves peace. Confirmation that your next chapter requires stronger boundaries. And as you stand in this new awareness, know this: you are no longer reacting to hidden tension. You are walking forward in deliberate strength. Steadfast soul, you have crossed an invisible line. What once felt confusing now feels clear. What once felt heavy now feels manageable. And what once felt urgent now feels understood. This is the mark of divine completion in a season. Archangel Michael does not remain in battle mode when the battle has already been decided. He transitions from defender to overseer, ensuring that what was restored remains secure. The emergency that began as a warning has now revealed itself as a divine reset. You may look around your home and sense that something intangible has shifted. The air feels lighter. The silence feels peaceful rather than tense. Your thoughts feel less cluttered. That is not imagination. That is alignment settling into place. What here is where many people make a subtle mistake. Once peace returns, they forget the lesson that secured it. Do not forget. Remember the signs. Remember the patterns. Remember how your body reacted before your mind understood. That memory is wisdom now. Archangel Michael's presence in this message symbolizes sustained vigilance. Not paranoia, not fear, but awareness. There is a difference between living guarded and living grounded. You are not being called to suspect everyone. You are being called to recognize misalignment early, before it roots deeply. The woman connected to this chapter has served her purpose in your life. Whether she remains at a distance, transitions into a different dynamic, or fades completely. The emotional authority she once carried in your space has dissolved, and that dissolution frees you. Freedom is not loud. It is subtle. It feels like breathing without pressure. It feels like speaking without rehearsing your words. It feels like resting without overthinking tomorrow's conversations. That is where you are heading. There is also restoration happening in areas you did not connect to this situation. You may notice improved focus in your work, increased clarity in financial planning, renewed enthusiasm in personal goals. When emotional tension lifts, creativity returns. When hidden strain disappears, vision expands. Archangel Michael's intervention was never limited to one relationship. It was about clearing your path entirely. You are entering a season where your home becomes a place of genuine refuge, a place where ideas grow, a place where peace strengthens rather than drains, a place where your energy replenishes instead of depletes. And here is the deeper revelation. This was not only about someone else's behavior. It was about your agreement with subtle discomfort. You are no longer in agreement with it. That inner shift is the true breakthrough. You may feel a quiet confidence rising that surprises even you. Decisions will feel simpler. Boundaries will feel natural. Communication will feel direct. This is the maturity Archangel Michael was guarding. In the coming weeks, pay attention to how quickly you identify misalignment in other areas of life. You will no longer ignore red flags. You will no longer rationalize discomfort. You will respond early and calmly. That is growth. The emergency from heaven has now transformed into a declaration over your household. Stability is your standard. And with stability comes acceleration. There are doors preparing to open that require emotional steadiness. Partnerships that require clarity from the beginning. Opportunities that demand focus without distraction. You have been prepared for them through this very experience. Take a moment and recognize how far you have come in just a short span. What once felt overwhelming now feels instructional. What once felt threatening now feels purposeful. It is divine perspective. Archangel Michael's name is often associated with strength and protection, but his deeper role is to ensure that divine order prevails. And divine order is now established in your space. As this truth settles into your spirit, respond in faith. Type "My home is sealed in peace" in the comments if you receive this alignment. Blessing code 818 is now activated over your household in your next season. And as this chapter closes, understand that what you experienced is part of a larger movement. There are many who sense hidden tension in their homes but do not know how to interpret it. When you step forward to support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are sowing light into households standing at the edge of breakthrough. The word declares, "Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy," and this promise is alive, breathing over every giver right now. When you say within yourself, "I choose to help this message reach another soul," heaven marks it as partnership in purpose. Your giving becomes oil that keeps the lamp burning. It becomes seed that produces harvest in unseen places. Do not delay when the Spirit nudges you. Move in obedience. Release your seed. Stand with this work, and watch how peace multiplies in your own home as light spreads to others. The emergency has passed. The order has been restored, and you are standing stronger than before. Anchored spirit, now that peace has begun to settle into your home, there is something even deeper unfolding beneath the surface. Restoration is not the end of this story. It is the foundation for expansion. Archangel Michael does not secure territory simply so you can remain comfortable. He secures territory so you can build. The calm you are experiencing is preparation for responsibility. When tension dominated your space, much of your energy was consumed by managing emotions, reading subtle signals, and adjusting your responses. Now that interference has been removed, you may feel an unfamiliar stillness. At first, stillness can feel almost strange because you became accustomed to underlying strain. But do not mistake this stillness for emptiness. It is readiness. Your home is becoming a command center rather than a battleground. This shift changes how you think, how you plan, and how you speak. You will notice that your thoughts feel more strategic. You will begin considering long-term decisions with clarity rather than hesitation. Ideas that once felt risky may now feel possible. Conversations that once intimidated you may now feel manageable. That is not coincidence. That is alignment. Archangel Michael's presence in your journey symbolizes courage under divine order. Courage is not loud emotion. It is quiet conviction. And you are stepping into that conviction. There is also a truth you must understand about cycles. The pattern that was broken in your home was not isolated. It represented a broader pattern of tolerating misalignment in order to preserve temporary comfort. The pattern has ended, but whenever a cycle ends, life tests the new boundary. Soon, you may encounter a situation outside your home that echoes the old dynamic. It may appear in a workplace interaction. It may surface in a friendship. It may show up in a subtle negotiation. And in that moment, you will have a choice. Will you shrink like before, or will you stand as you are now? This is not a threat. It is an opportunity to confirm your growth. Archangel Michael's earlier intervention strengthened you for this exact reason. The emergency from heaven trained your discernment. Now that discernment will be applied in real time. When the test appears, you will recognize it quickly. Your body will sense it. Your intuition will signal it. But unlike before, you will not doubt yourself. You will address it calmly. You will establish clarity early. And because you act early, conflict will not escalate. That is mastery. You are moving from reactive living to proactive living. The woman connected to your earlier situation played a role in sharpening your awareness. Now that role is complete. There is no need to carry resentment. Release it fully. Gratitude, even quiet gratitude, closes chapters cleanly. Peace maintained through gratitude is stronger than peace maintained through avoidance. There is also expansion coming in your personal vision. You may feel drawn to reorganize your schedule, to start a new project, to revisit a postponed idea. These impulses are signs that your energy is no longer divided. When energy is unified, progress accelerates. Archangel Michael's guardianship ensured that your foundation would not crack under hidden strain. Now that the foundation is reinforced, construction begins. It is erosion of confidence, and having a clear way ahead. Construction of a home atmosphere that reflects your high self. You may notice that people respond differently to you now. Your voice carries more certainty. Your posture carries more stability. Even your silence carries weight. The change is subtle but powerful. When internal authority increases, external dynamics shift automatically. Continue nurturing your space intentionally. Speak peace over your home. Keep communication transparent. Maintain boundaries gently but consistently. These habits preserve what was restored. The emergency window that opened at the beginning of this journey with a divine interruption. But interruption always precedes innovation. You were interrupted so that your path could be redirected toward higher alignment. Now you stand in that alignment. There is no rush. There is no looming exposure left to fear. There is only forward movement. Archangel Michael's role transitions here from active defender to silent guardian. Protection remains, but urgency dissolves. A lesson has been learned. The atmosphere has been cleansed. The pattern has been broken. What remains is growth, and growth will require continued awareness. Not suspicion, not anxiety, just awareness. You are no longer walking through your home wondering what is hidden. You are walking through it knowing that clarity reigns. That knowing is power, and with that power comes responsibility to honor what you have gained. The emergency from heaven was not the end of something. It was the beginning of who you are becoming, and you are only just stepping into it. Resolute one, the transformation you have walked through is now solidifying into identity. What began as an emergency has become evidence. Evidence that you are guided. Evidence that you are protected. Evidence that you are capable of growth beyond what once intimidated you. Archangel Michael did not intervene simply to adjust your environment. He intervened to reveal who you are when clarity replaces confusion. Now the focus shifts from what was around you to what is within you. There is a new steadiness in your voice, a new patience in your reactions, a new firmness in your boundaries. These are not temporary emotions. They are structural upgrades. When heaven corrects a pattern, it also strengthens the person who walked through it. You are stronger than you were weeks ago, and that strength is about to be tested in subtle but important ways. You may notice that as you become more stable, some people respond with admiration, while others respond with distance. Do not take either reaction personally. Growth reorganizes relationships naturally. Some individuals feel safer around clarity. Others feel exposed by it. Archangel Michael represents divine order, and divine order does not bend to maintain artificial harmony. It stands steady so that true harmony can form. You are no longer negotiating your standards. This next phase will require consistency. It is easy to hold boundaries when the memory of tension is fresh. It is harder when peace feels normal again. But this is where discipline matters. Discipline is not harshness. It is alignment maintained over time. Pay attention to your daily routines. Stability at home must extend into stability in habits. Organize your time. Protect your focus. Limit conversations that drain clarity. Speak intentionally. Rest intentionally. Move intentionally. The emergency taught you how quickly misalignment can grow when ignored. And now you apply that awareness early, before small discomfort becomes large strain. There is also a calling attached to this growth. When someone experiences divine protection and learns from it, they are often positioned to guide others. You may begin noticing that people confide in you more. They may ask for your perspective on their own household tension. They may seek your advice in situations that resemble what you overcame. Do not dismiss this. It is part of your expansion. Archangel Michael's presence in your journey was not only for your benefit. It was preparation for influence. Influence does not always mean public visibility. Sometimes it means becoming a stabilizing presence in your circle. And as your influence grows, your responsibility to remain grounded increases. If this message has been walking you step by step through your own transformation, engage with it fully. Like this video so others who are facing silent tension can find clarity before it escalates. Share it with someone who needs confirmation that protection still operates in unseen ways. Comment what shift you have noticed in your home and within yourself. Subscribe and stand connected to messages that awaken discernment. Join the membership if you feel called to support deeper spiritual insight. Your engagement strengthens a community that values awareness and growth. And listen carefully, because what comes next connects your personal breakthrough to a larger spiritual rhythm unfolding around you. You are not alone in this season of exposure and alignment. Many are experiencing similar awakenings. It is as if a wave of clarity is moving through households, breaking subtle patterns that once seemed normal. You are part of that wave. There is a sense that time itself is accelerating. Conversations move quickly. Decisions form rapidly. Truth surfaces without prolonged delay. This acceleration requires emotional maturity. You have been prepared for it. Archangel Michael's intervention taught you not to panic when hidden things rise. It taught you to observe, to remain steady, to let truth reveal itself. Those skills will serve you in upcoming opportunities. There may be a decision approaching that impacts your living arrangement, career direction, or long-term planning. Where you once would have hesitated out of fear of disrupting comfort, you will now move with confidence. That is growth confirmed. Continue guarding your environment gently, but firmly. Continue choosing clarity over convenience. Continue strengthening your inner authority. The emergency was a catalyst. The exposure was a correction. The peace is a gift. But the identity forming within you is the true victory. You are no longer someone who tolerates quiet instability. You are someone who recognizes it early and addresses it wisely. And that wisdom will open doors that once felt beyond reach. Stay attentive, because the final phase of this message will reveal how this entire journey was positioning you for something greater than you imagined. Focus, soul. You are standing at the edge of revelation. Everything that unfolded in your home was not an isolated correction. It was alignment for assignment. Archangel Michael does not step into a life merely to fix tension. He steps in to fortify purpose. And purpose always requires a stable foundation. The stability you now feel is not ordinary calm. It is strategic peace. Strategic peace means you are no longer reacting to life. You are directing it. You are no longer absorbing the emotional atmosphere of others. You are setting the tone. This shift may feel subtle, but it changes the trajectory of your future decisions. There is something significant approaching your life. It may involve relocation, expansion, a new partnership, or a leadership opportunity. Whatever form it takes, it requires clarity of mind and steadiness of heart. If the hidden tension in your home had remained unresolved, you would have stepped into that opportunity divided and distracted. But now you are clear. Archangel Michael's intervention was preparation for responsibility. Responsibility that demands emotional maturity. Responsibility that demands discernment. Responsibility that demands courage without aggression. You have developed all three. Reflect on who you were before this message began unfolding. You sensed discomfort but doubted your perception. You noticed patterns but hesitated to name them. You felt tension, but adjusted yourself instead of aggressing it internally. That version of you has grown. Now you trust what you sense. That trust is the key to your next season. You may begin feeling drawn toward decisions that once intimidated you. Conversations you avoided may now feel necessary. Boundaries you once feared establishing may now feel obvious. This is not impulsiveness. It is readiness. When Archangel Michael guards a threshold, it is because someone is about to cross it. You are crossing from passive awareness into active leadership in your own life. Leadership does not mean controlling others. It means governing your space wisely. It means choosing who has influence. It means discerning when to speak and when to remain silent. It means understanding that peace is protected by clarity, not by avoidance. As you move forward, remember that every season teaches something. The season of subtle tension taught you vigilance. The season of exposure taught you composure. The season of restoration taught you gratitude. Now you enter the season of expansion. Expansion requires vision. Allow yourself to imagine what your life looks like without hidden strain. Imagine relationships built on transparency from the beginning. Imagine a home atmosphere that supports creativity and growth. Imagine decisions made from confidence rather than fear. This is not fantasy. It is direction. There is also a deeper spiritual principle at work here. When divine protection intervenes in small matters, it is often because larger matters are ahead. Heaven corrects the minor so that the major can unfold smoothly. The emergency that once felt intense was actually mercy in advance. You were spared extended delay. You were spared deeper entanglement. You were spared emotional exhaustion that could have clouded future judgment. Archangel Michael's presence symbolizes that you are not navigating this life alone. Guidance operates even when unseen. Protection moves even when unrecognized. And clarity arrives when timing aligns. The final phase of this message will bring everything together. It will reveal why the urgency was framed so strongly at the beginning. It will reveal why your name was described as being spoken in the unseen realm. And it will confirm that what felt like an interruption was actually divine positioning. Before that final revelation unfolds, take a moment internally and acknowledge your growth. Acknowledge that you did not react impulsively. Acknowledge that you observed patiently. Acknowledge that you chose clarity over chaos. These choices define your character, and character determines capacity. You are ready for what comes next. The peace in your home is not fragile anymore. It is anchored. The confidence in your voice is not temporary. It is established. The discernment in your spirit is not experimental. It is refined. Archangel Michael stands not as a warrior in battle now, but as a guardian over transition. And you are stepping into that transition fully aware. The next words you hear will seal this journey with understanding. Beloved one, now the circle closes. From the very first moment, when you heard the urgent call, when you felt that sudden weight in your spirit as if heaven itself had interrupted your routine, it was never about fear. It was about focus. It was about divine attention being directed toward you at a precise moment in your life. When it was declared that Archangel Michael was speaking your name, that was not poetic language. It was spiritual symbolism for selection. In scripture and tradition, when a name is spoken in the unseen realm, it signifies assignment. It signifies that heaven has taken notice of a transition point. You were at a transition point. The hidden tension in your home was not just discomfort. It was a signal that your current environment could not remain as it was while you stepped into what is next. And because your next season carries weight, responsibility, influence, expansion, heaven intervened early. The urgency was mercy. If the subtle manipulation, the emotional strain, the quiet misalignment had continued unchecked, it would have shaped your decisions slowly. It would have influenced your confidence. It would have redirected your focus. And by the time you realized it, valuable time could have been lost. But that did not happen, because protection moved first. Archangel Michael represents divine defense over destiny. Not defense born of panic, but defense born of authority. When your name was spoken, it symbolized that your destiny was being guarded before disruption could deepen. And now look at where you stand. Your home feels lighter. Your thoughts feel clear. Your boundaries feel stronger. Your voice feels steadier. That is not coincidence. That is alignment restored. The message was framed as something that would disappear because moments of awareness are windows. When a window opens, you either step toward it or let it close. You step toward it. You listened. You reflected. You grew. Many ignore divine nudges until consequences force attention. You did not. You responded during the whisper stage. That is wisdom. Now you are positioned differently. You are no longer someone who tolerates quiet instability. You are someone who recognizes it early. You are no longer someone who shrinks to maintain surface peace. You are someone who establishes authentic peace. You are no longer uncertain about your intuition. You trust it. That is the true miracle in this entire journey. And here is the final revelation. This was preparation for elevation. There is a door ahead that requires emotional maturity. A connection ahead that requires healthy boundaries. A responsibility ahead that requires discernment. If your foundation had remained unstable, that door could not open safely. Now it can. Archangel Michael's symbolic guardianship over your threshold means this: what enters your life next must align with your growth. What does not align will not remain. And what is meant for you will not be blocked by hidden forces again. The emergency has transformed into empowerment. The exposure has transformed into wisdom. The protection has transformed into promotion. Stand in your home tonight and feel the difference. Walk through your rooms and sense the calm. Speak over your space with confidence. You are not guarded by fear. You are guarded by clarity. Type "I walk in divine alignment" in the comments if you receive this final confirmation. Blessing code 1212 is now activated over your household, your decisions, and your next chapter. And as this message seals, understand something sacred. When heaven releases an emergency warning, it is not only for one person. It is for every household on the edge of breakthrough. If your spirit has been strengthened, if your home has been stabilized, then you are now part of a greater mission. The Lord declares, "I will pour water on the thirsty land and streams on the dry ground," and that promise is alive right now, flowing through every willing heart. When you say within yourself, "I will help this light reach another family," you are not making a donation. You are sowing into living soil. Your super thanks, your membership, your gift through the PayPal link in the description becomes seed in the hands of God, and seed always produces harvest. This is holy urgency. Do not watch and walk away unchanged. Step into partnership. Release your seed. Fuel the spreading of truth to homes that are still in silent tension. And as you give, may oil never run dry in your house, may peace remain established within your walls, and may open heavens respond to your obedience. Act now. Stand with this mission, and watch how God multiplies what you place in His hands.